All right, Father Howard. So we're here to discuss communion. So I'll just open with a question. So what is your view on communion? Do you think it's just a symbol? Do you think the real presence is in there? Do you believe in consubstantiation? Do you believe in transubstantiation? What is your view on communion?
Anybody that came to Jesus the Good Shepherd or came to me and said, I believe in transubstantiation or consubstantiation, I wouldn't argue with them. Certainly, real presence, I think, is the most kind of Anglican consistent teaching. This is the body of blood of Christ. This is bread and wine. How can they two be, how can it be both? It's a mystery, right? The only, thinking that I would really push back on would be the symbol. That is just not what a sacrament is, right? A sacrament is an outward and visible sign of an inward and spiritual grace. And maybe one way of thinking about the difference between symbol and sign is if you're driving through the forest and you see a sign on the side of the road that has a symbol of fire, you would say, oh, that's the symbol for fire. That means I should be on the lookout for fire. If you see smoke, then that is a sign, right? And so the symbol is that painted image. We know that is not actually a fire, but when we see smoke, we think, oh, there is a fire there. And so that's what the sacrament is. The Holy Communion is a sign for us that grace is there. So God's grace is there, God's grace is present. Jesus said, this is my body, this is my blood, right? So he doesn't say this is a sign or a symbol, he says it is, right? So he doesn't say it's like, he says it is. And obviously this is what the scriptures teach, right?
Yes.
St. Paul says, if you take it unworthily, it will make you sick. Well, symbols don't do that.
Right.
Symbols don't make you sick. And so, even more to the point maybe is at the Last Supper where we read that Judas receives Holy Communion and Satan climbs down his throat after it. He received it unworthily. And so there is real power in that sacrament. And when we don't treat it as what it is, it's dangerous. Just like anything that's really powerful.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So on that same point, we spend a lot of time in service kind of, I'd say, preparing for communion, right?
Yeah.
We have this prayer of confession. We have a prayer of humble access. You're up here for a long time blessing the communion, and it's treated very importantly in the service. Why would you say that is? Why is it important to confess and pray before we have communion?
I think, primarily St. Paul's warning, right? That if we receive it unworthily, it's damnation. So we better be really careful. We don't want that. We don't want to be damned. We don't want to be sick. We want to be very, very careful and respectful about God's grace. We want to make sure that we're receiving that grace in order to do the work that he's given us to do, right? In the post-communion prayer, we say, now send us out into the world to do the work that you have given us to do, right? So it's fuel. And we know that when we receive fuel in our bodies, when we eat food and then we don't work, we get fat, we get sick, right? We eat in order to do work. So we are receiving his body and blood in order to do his work, in order to love and to do acts of mercy and acts of healing, and to be the church, to be able to go into the world and take Christ into the world. And so it's not just to make us feel good, it's not just to remind us, it's not, as important as those things are, right? It's important to receive God's grace and to feel that presence, but it doesn't end there, right? That's the beginning then of us going out. The one other thing I'll say about, that it is his body and it is bread in that mystery is we think about that mystery in lots of different ways, right? We read, throughout the scripture, the Gospels and in Genesis, right? The two become one flesh, right? How is that, right? How is that possible?
How is that possible?
We read that in baptism somebody is born again, right? And Zacchaeus says, how is that possible? And so Holy Communion is the same. How is that possible?
Yeah.
And so part of the prayer, part of this preparation is for us to be able to enter into a mystery. If we're going to enter into a mystery, if we're going to enter into the mystery of marriage or into the mystery of baptism, we need to do it thoughtfully. We need to do it, prayerfully. We need to not rush into it. It's not this quick thing. And for a culture like ours, where what we value is quick and easy and transactional relationships, it's really important for us just to take time.
Yeah.
Just like in a marriage, just like in child rearing, in friendships, right? We need to spend time with the other person. We need to reflect, and so we are encountering Christ. He is here in our presence, and to make that quick, to make it easy, to make it transactional, to not really focus on it, is to devalue it.
Yeah.
And to devalue it to our own detriment.
Yeah, I would just say for me, like when I came to this church, the big thing, I had a very low view of communion before I came here.
Yeah.
And then when I realized how much time we were spending on it and how important it really is, I mean, it changed my entire week now. Like, I mean, taking communion is just one of the most important things for me now, just as a value,
Yes.
And so one last question, just kind of out of like my personal genuine curiosity.
Yeah.
What do you think about like grape juice as a thing for communion? Because a lot of churches nowadays will use grape juice as like a symbol for communion, or I don't know how they would describe it personally, but what do you think about that?
Right. Again, I think it's really important to have this this broad historical view, just like baptism. It's very late when people start to say, we shouldn't baptize children. It's very late, and not just for the whole Reformation. We don't want to think that all the reformers did that. It was this one very small group of reformers, really located in Britain and in the Americas.
Yeah.
And grape juice is the same thing. It's not part of the one church. It's not part of churches everywhere. It's really one group that really took this view that, and I really can't pretend to understand it, that when the scriptures say wine they're not talking about wine.
Right.
And I really don't know how they do that. It's just very clear that it's wine. So, if you're on a desert island and you've got nothing but water and a coconut, I mean, are we going to bless that and say, Christ be in this and be in us? I mean, I'm going to, right? So under extreme circumstances, if somebody is suffering from the kind of debilitating alcoholism, again, I would think maybe you just take the bread. I don't really pretend to understand how people get to that place of saying that the wine is not wine.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you're very welcome.